Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by my channel today. It's gonna be a good one today. I'm very excited. Today we're gonna be doing a battle of the brows. I've already done a brow battle on my channel here once before with brow pens, and today it's gonna be all about the brow gels, the brow pomades, the brow fixatives, the things that hold your hair in place. Today we have the Anastasia Brow Freeze, and we also have the Refy Brow Sculpt, Shape, and Hold. Whew, all these names are getting so long. So I'm very excited. I have used both of these. In all honesty, I like both of these, but I really want to be able to give you the pros and the cons of each. So we are going to do one on one side and one on the other. I'm going to do a little wear test. We're going to see how this works as I fill in my brows as well and see which one is better. Now, if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist, and here on my channel I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Now, I hope you're as excited for this battle of the brows as I am. I'm gonna zoom you in and we'll get started. Okay, nice and zoomed in, here we go. Let's talk a little bit about the Refy Brow Sculpt. This is definitely more of like a milky pomade consistency. So you can see here it comes with this spoolie. I have talked about this on my channel. I used it in a recent video and it made it into my monthly favorites. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't until after that video that I realized that there was this side here as well. I thought this was maybe on the pencil. I saw this being used on Instagram and I was like, oh, that must be on the pencil, which I didn't get, but no, it is on here. Now, I will be honest, both of these products were really geared towards laminated brows. I would say that I like a very pushed up feathery look, but I don't necessarily need them like shellacked down to my face. So we're not necessarily gonna be like laminating them, but we are definitely gonna be going for that fluffed up, lifted, push up brow. There we go. All right, so the Refy Brow Sculpt is $24 at Sephora. Now let's talk a little bit about the Anastasia Brow Freeze. Now, most of you have seen the Anastasia Brow Freeze. Actually, most of you have probably seen both of these products. It's not like they're exactly new on the market, but the Brow Freeze is more of a clear styling wax. This one is $23, so very similar prices here. And this is again meant to give that very like lifted and laminated effect. I did use this in either like a makeup play date or get ready with me style video, and I really did like it. This I used on the heels of the Patrick Ta brow wax, on the heels of the Jason Wu brow wax, and both of those I didn't really love. When I am going for that very feathery brow, I tend to use a brow pen and just really like lift up the hairs and then detail in with the pen. And that's gonna be what I do today. So we're gonna see how this works. I like both of these products, but I'm also curious to see which lasts longer, which holds better, and a couple other pros and cons in this situation. So I'm gonna get this hair tied back and we're gonna go ahead and get started. Now, I'm going to say this is gonna be a little bit more difficult in some areas because on this brow, on both of them, I'm missing a bit of hair, but more so on this one. So if my brows are sisters, one is the good sister and one is the evil twin. So that is going to be one thing to keep in mind when we go through this. This side just has less hair. I do have some very faded microblading going through my brows, so some of that tint is there, but this really isn't about the tint. It's about the lift and the hold anyway. So I'm going to use this on both sides, and then I will also fill them in with the pen, because usually, well, I guess sometimes I do go through and use a pen first, but with a product like this, I will do that with that Benefit 24/7 Brow Setter Gel. I will use that one after I use a pen, but for something like this with this more wet consistency, I find that if I do the fill-in first and then I go through with a wet product, it sort of like smears the color, and we don't want that. So we're gonna go through and use both of these. Let's go ahead and use the Refy first. I really don't know which side to use this on, but the front of my brows both have the same amount of hair, so we will be able to see that from that situation. I probably should have trimmed my brows before we started doing this video, but that's okay, that's okay. So here we're gonna take this white product, and don't worry, it doesn't stay white. We're gonna run this through. So this is almost like, you know, if you have like a lash primer that goes on white but dries down, and I do like to try to like fatten up the hair, so I go kind of like back and forth and push these brows up. Now, in my first time trying this, I did just use this because I didn't know that there was something on the other side, but you just take the top of the cap off. Now, the brand says that you can use the comb side for a more like natural yet lifted effect, so you can just comb this right through and you definitely will get like lifted but not like quite so smeared down brows. Or you can go through with the brush side and really brush them up and into place. Now, my brows, they, especially like right here, these hairs don't love to like stay in place. They like to push up a little bit. So I'm gonna use just a little bit more product. It's always better to add more than it is to try to take some off, right? So I'm just gonna take a little bit more. Do any of you get like dry skin right here on your brow? I definitely do. And I probably should have like done an exfoliation treatment before I went through and did this video, because I'm probably just a little bit dry, but that is all right. You also obviously want to make sure that you don't have like foundation or anything like running through that area. So I'm gonna get these nice and stuck up. They do look like fairly extreme right now, but I know that they're gonna like pop off the skin a little bit. I'm not trying again to get that like super crazy laminated look, but I do want my hairs to be sort of like separated and not all in like one chunk. All right, so now we have those hairs in place. And again, we're gonna be adding more wispies. We're gonna be adding more hairs with the brow pen. Now we're gonna go through with the Brow Freeze. Now the first thing that I like about the Refy Brow Sculpt is that I don't need to grab a separate spoolie, because A, I'm lazy, and B, in all honesty, then you have to clean out the spoolie, which again, I'm lazy, but also it's just like one more thing. So I really feel like you can only get a few days of use out of one spoolie before it's like, okay, now I want to go ahead and, you know, like clean this spoolie off. So also I like to take the spoolie on the cap and just really like run the spoolie into the cap just to sort of like disperse some of that product through, because otherwise you're just going to end up with a chunk of it on the bristles. So again, doing the same thing, I tend to like bring these back just to get the underside coated, because I find that products like this really help make the hairs feel and look thicker, because you know it's, I mean, it really is almost like a wax, so it just helps like coat the hair and give it more diameter, which I could use. You'd think with all of this hair on my head I would have been blessed with more brow, but it didn't happen. So I will definitely say right off the bat, from using the Brow Sculpt and the Brow Freeze, the Brow Freeze is a bit more, not tacky as in sticky, but it's a little more of like a wet feeling, I guess I would say, which seems weird because like this is much more liquidy when it comes out, but I feel like, and I mean they're still drying obviously, but I feel like this one has a bit more pliable feel to it. They're neither of them dry stiff, which is really appreciated, especially if your brows are going to move at all. Like if the, you know, lifted up shape starts to move, you don't want like pokey, outy, stiff hairs happening. Wow, if you are not one of the people that clicked off this video when I say things like pokey, outy, thanks for sticking around. Here we go. I swear I am a professional. But what I'm saying is, you know, like it's sort of like if you use hairspray to try to like spray down baby hairs in your hair, if you like put a ponytail in, well, all that does is like, it makes those baby hairs stick straight out. You need something that's more pliable to like set those hairs in place. And then if they do come out of place again, you can kind of just push them back in. So that's how I feel about that. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is grab a brow pen. I have several. I think for today, I'm gonna go ahead and go through with my favorite, the Ardell Stroke-A-Brow. This was neither of the ones in that Battle of the Brows video, by the way. So again, I'm not sure if this is being discontinued or not. It is my favorite. I really love that it has like a hair tip on it, almost like the KVD tattoo liner, you know, where it's like actual bristles. I love that. It has a very, very fine tip. It's like $7 or $8, but I saw that like a while ago Ulta was discontinuing it. So if you can still find it, I would snag these. I have the shade medium brown and taupe. I'm probably going to use both to go through my brows. This isn't about me filling in my brows, so I'm just going to do that really quickly, and then I will let you guys know as we go through the sort of like experience that I'm having. Okay, so a couple things. I do feel like this stroke of brow is starting to lose its juice, like it's coming up dry. So I grabbed my taupe version, but what I'm also wondering is if the consistency or the formula of the Brow Freeze, if it's keeping the pen from laying down some color. So here we have the taupe. I'm gonna just lay a few hairs on this side. And the taupe shade is obviously like much, much lighter. Yeah, I feel like I'm just not getting like as much pigment to lay down. And that's one thing that also worries me a little bit when you use products like this is if the tip gets coated with too much of like a waxy substance, it doesn't work as well anymore. All right, we're gonna grab a third brow pen. This is the Urban Decay Brow Blade. This one I know is quite juicy, so we're gonna just do a couple hairs. It's a pretty dark shade, and it's not as thin. And the brush on this isn't as thin as the stroke of brow, and I just don't find that I get like quite as thin of lines with this product. But okay, this one is laying down a little bit better, but it's definitely like way more juicy than the other product. Okay, so once I get them like fully filled in, then I usually just like come up here and sketch in a couple extra wispy hairs through the top, just because I obviously like have certain areas that have more hair than others, and so I want it to all kind of like blend. Okay, so here is the finished result. Now again, I mean, I had to fill them in, and I feel like the Brow Freeze just blocks a little bit of pigment from laying down. And I don't know if that's because in the process of putting on the product, I have to like use the spoolie and more of that product gets onto my skin. I'm not sure if that's it, or if it just honestly just doesn't perform as well. So feeling here, now they feel fairly similar. I'm really going to be interested to see how this like lasts, like if they both stay really nice and lifted. So right now it is 5 o'clock, and I'm going to let this go until I have to wash my face and go to bed. So we will see how this works. You guys will have to let me know. Do you see one side or the other that you like as far as like the brow hairs being lifted up? For right now, I feel like they look pretty much the same. I almost feel like this side is drooping a little bit more already. We'll see. The nice thing about having something that's soft though, if you still want that like lifted effect, you can usually just like tap it back down if it starts like, so we will see. But I just wanted to give you guys the before. I will come back in a little bit. Well, not a little bit, a lot of bit, a couple seconds for you, but hours for me. And then we will see what we think of both sides. All right, welcome back to my face. It's about 4.5 hours later. It is 10:30. So my eyes are really red. I feel like my allergies are doing a doozy right now, but my makeup still looks pretty fresh. This eye look though. By the way, if you were curious about this makeup look, I will go ahead and link the video up here where I did a fun little haul and this whole eye look, which I'm loving. But we're here for the brows, not the eyeshadow. So obviously it's only been like 4.5 hours, which for me is like not even half my work day. I feel like they both feel pretty similar at this point, but I think, and you guys will have to tell me if I'm crazy, but I feel like this hair is standing up more. Like I feel like this side got a little more droopy, but this side is like still holding strong. So I think that if you are actually looking to actually like laminate and like up your brows, the Refy pomade might actually be the way to go, the Brow Sculpt. Looking at the color, I still think that this side, like the etching, it still looks more like hairs. I do think that this product was giving me a little bit of a struggle when I was trying to put on the brow hairs. So again, here is a little close-up, and you guys will have to let me know if you notice a difference. So at the end of the day, no pun intended, I have to say I'm going to give it to the Refy Brow Sculpt. Now, I did go ahead and look up to see how much product is in here, and they actually both have 0.28 ounces. So they have the same amount of product, because I honestly figured that this is more, but really I think that it's kind of deceiving. I almost want to like dig my nail into the bottom of this to see just how deep this is. It must honestly not be very deep at all. It's sort of hard to tell because it's a clear product, but if there is the same in both of these, that just shows that packaging can be deceiving. And I also think that you would use more of this just because there's more product waste, because you're putting it on a spoolie that you then have to like wash off, whereas obviously everything on here just kind of goes right back in the tube. So I honestly can't think of a pro that the Anastasia Brow Freeze has over the Refy Brow Sculpt. I'm trying to think if there's a reason why you would be a person who'd want this over this. Maybe that this is a wetter texture, if that's something that like bothers you, but I do think that, you know, they both dried down really nice and clear. This obviously starts clear. Really, the only thing that I could think of is if you are a makeup artist and you are looking to work on a client, this is a little easier to keep sanitary. So obviously with this, you'd need to be using a different spoolie for your client. Whereas with this one, you obviously are just using a spoolie to start with. So that's really the only thing. I love the feel of this. I love how easy it is to use. Now that I know about it, I love that you've got your little like wand and brush right on here. It's so smart. I love this. Now I'm kind of like, I'm gonna struggle to use this because I love this so much. I haven't reached for this at all since I found this one. So I'm gonna have to challenge myself to use this one a little bit more. It is not bad by any means, but I do find that it's a little harder to get some pigment on my brows. So maybe if there's days where I'm not going to put anything through my brows, or maybe I'm going to use this and then just maybe like a little gimme brow over the top. I wonder if that's possible. The only thing that I found that works okay with this, funny enough, is the Anastasia Dip Brow, because that is so pigmented. I can just like whisk hairs right over the top of this, but I don't always want to do that. If you love a good feathery brow, or you really like to laminate your brows, hopefully you decided that one of these is going to be better for you than the other. I feel like brow products are one of those things that we all have like a tried and true, use all the time, but it's also the thing that we're always looking for the next best product. Let me know if that's you as well, because I know it's definitely me. And I'm glad that I tried something new, or two things that are new, because I do like them both. One just beats the other out. So that is going to be it for today. You'll have to let me know. Have you tried either of these? Have you tried both? Do you have a favorite? I would love to know. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's fun getting to hang out with you. I really appreciate it. If you did find this helpful, don't forget to give it a like, and I'll see you really soon.